Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2021 Mazda 3 Turbo all-wheel drive with the Premium Plus package. This vehicle is sitting on 215/45 Bridgestone tires, wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Machine Gray Metallic, and the sun is shining right now, so hopefully you can get an idea of what it looks like. It's a really nice kind of tungsten looking color, and if you like these darker shades, this is a really good choice. And the design of the vehicle, with not a lot of hard creases and sharp lines and stuff, is just very smooth contour of the vehicle. I think that does well with this particular color as well. So here in the grille is a gloss black here, and it's the complex design here, so it kind of gives like a faceted look. Now there's portions of it that's blocked off where it doesn't have airflow. There's also parking sensors here and then some in here kind of integrated into the design of the vehicle, which is nice. This is a gloss black here as well, here on the very bottom. It's very low, so watch out for curbs. And the radar adaptive cruise control sensor is behind that badge, but just above it is a little camera. It's like a little wide angle view camera there. All the exterior lights here on the front are LED, so even your turn signals are a nice LED. Headlights, low and high beams, everything here in the front LED. Now it does have the adaptive headlights, so actually turn as you turn the steering wheel. You can check out my channel for a night video. I have a full night video showing all the interior and exterior lighting. Spoiler alert, it has better exterior lights than interior lights. Okay, so looking at the profile, you can see it kind of has that like water drop shape to where it's thinner in the front and then it gets significantly more bubbly there in the back. And body colored handles. It has a black side mirror, gloss black, and then gloss black pillar there in the middle. Now if you were to tint the windows, it will kind of solidify the glass with that gloss black pillar. And then the entire glass here is all underlined with a chrome trim. This is what the key looks like, and it's pretty plain, but there's not a lot of features on it, and it's kind of big and bulky and heavy, so thought that was kind of interesting. It does have a physical key on the inside when you need it, and lock and unlock. But basically this is a proximity key, so you can use the vehicle 100% just by having this with you. And the lack of features and the fact that, you know, it's more useful to just use it by keeping it with you. Should be a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. Also, changing the battery is not all that easy. I have a video on that, but as long as you have this key with you, it does have lock and unlock and a panic button. The horn is super loud, so I'm not going to do that right now. I do like the fact that it is a loud horn, but it is really loud, especially if you're standing in front of the vehicle. So as long as you have this key with you, it could be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's within a close proximity of the outside of either the driver and passenger doors, you can lock the door by placing your finger over this little indicator, a little sensor right here indicated by this little dimple. So just put your hand over that. You can do it that way or whatever. And it senses your hand, it senses the key on the outside of the door, and it will lock the doors. To unlock it, put your hand behind the handle, and it has a sensor back here. So you have to be with the key on the outside of the door in order for this to work. Not anybody can just walk up and open the door if you have the key inside. So it gives you access to the vehicle. There's also a physical key location. If I pull this handle out, you can see right in here, that's where the key is. You have to kind of put it in at an angle in order to open the door in case you need to use that feature. It's only on the driver's side though. Take a look at the inside of the passenger side door, and it's mostly black interior. There is a contrast stitching right in here. It's not a huge amount of difference. It doesn't pop out, you know, but it does have that stitching there. It's in a French, double stitch French design. Now you do also have a chrome strip here that kind of blends in the handle, which is right there. And that goes into the Bose speaker grill, which is a nice alloy cover with little holes there. Looking pretty nice. There's also a little tweeter speaker here in the pillar. And soft touch surfaces from here all the way down. This armrest is very, very soft and pillowy, which is nice. This handle is open. And this is all hard touch surfaces here at the bottom where this big open pocket is. You have a bottle holder there, small quick access pocket, and then a bigger pocket there in the back. Here's the threshold. Manually adjusted seats here on the passenger side. Now these are leather, and you can see they have the perforations there in the center part, and then the leather, solid leather here on the outside. And inside each perforation is that other color you see in the stitching. It kind of looks like a it's hard to tell exactly what color it is. Hopefully you can tell by looking at it. It's kind of like, I guess it's like an orange looking color, I guess. Orange reddish. And the seats they're comfortable for short trips, for me anyway. If I sit in this seat too long, it becomes less comfortable. So that might just be this vehicle, or it could just be me. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now, the passenger seat. Now I have the seat all the way back. So it has lots of room here in the front, but you'll see it doesn't have much room in the back. So to give you the idea of the potential legroom here in the front, the floor mat snaps in place, so it keeps it from sliding around on you. Here's the legroom. It's pretty decent. And the glove compartment it doesn't have any ability to lock it. You open it up, and it is a nice flat floor in there, so you can stack stuff in there. It's pretty nice as far as the size and everything, but no illumination. It's another spoiler for the night video. No illumination in here, which is surprising. There's a chrome piece around the climate control vents there. Now the dash is kind of like rubbery soft here, non-reflective surface, which is good. This is all soft, it has more stitching, but this is the hard touch down here at the bottom. So in the front, you have lots of room to get in and out. There's lots of headroom here, just wide open space to enter and exit the vehicle. And the back is not that bad. It does kind of taper down here. But other than that, they got a nice wide open space. The swing of the door could be a little bit more, but it's not really that bad. The inside of the back door, very similar styling as the front. Soft touch, all the way down, soft armrest, and then the hard touch down there. And has the pockets at the bottom. All right, so you can see with this seat all the way back, it really limits your legroom big time. So if you were to, and you can see the driver's seat is more in a normal position, so you can start to get more legroom back here when you pull the seats up and compromise a little bit on the legroom in the front. Now, unless you're like 7 feet tall or something, you should have plenty of room anyway without putting the seats all the way back. Here's all the way forward. So you can see there's lots of articulation or the ability to slide it forward and back. So you can see there's still some legroom here in the front, and you got a lot here in the back. And there's a pocket on the back of the passenger seat here, but not the driver's seat. Very significant hump in the middle. So if you have a center passenger, then it's probably not going to be all that great. The back seat is basically a benched style seat with some bolstering, kind of simulating a bucket seat in a way. And then there's armrest, cup holders. This flips up. And there's also, this center part is significantly higher too. So just if you plan on putting a center passenger back here, then they have to be able to fit back here. So you want to keep that in mind. So it does have the ISOFIX, also known as a latch system for car seats. But check this out, it has these covers. And you basically have to take them off in order to put a car seat in here. Now you got to find a place for this, and preferably without losing it. So that's something interesting. You can fold the seats down as well to add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space, because it's a 60-40 split. So you can fold down one seat or the other and add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. Take a look at the back of the vehicle. It has a little tiny shark fin antenna right here, body colored, and a little spoiler at the top of the rear glass, and it's in a gloss black. The third brake light is in the base of that. Then you have a rear wiper. Parking sensors across the back. There's also a the camera system. There's a camera on the underside of each side mirror. There's also a camera back here, and you remember I showed you in the front. There was another camera, so that's 4 cameras, and it kind of gives you a surround view, and I'll show you that on the screen inside the vehicle when we get in there. But I like the fact that they do have the camera in the very center position. Now, it being very low, it could be a little bit higher and integrated with the badging or something like that. It's like similar to what they did in the front, but it does seem to work pretty decent. Now the taillights are LED, turn signals and all are LED, so they're nice and sharp and crisp at nighttime. You can check out the night video. The dual exhaust tips are intended to be visible, so here they are, looking pretty cool. To open up the hatch, remember there's no button here on the key to open up the hatch. You will need to reach under here, if you're back here, and push that button under here. So the badge is kind of like a handle as well. So just keep that in mind. If you're the type of person who likes to use your key to open up the hatch, this doesn't have that feature. But it does have the ability to lock the vehicle from back here. So if you want to lock the vehicle, then close the hatch, you can do that. So it has this shade that kind of covers up the cargo area. So you can see it kind of articulates down to cover it up. Of course, you can remove this if you want. And if you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this is your cargo space. Now I actually have a bunch of cargo in here, but it's pretty decent amount of space, especially if you fold the seats down and stuff. You can add quite a bit of room, but even if the seats are up, it's pretty surprising how much room is back here. Now there's only one light. It's on the left side. It is LED, but it does have it. And there's a floor that's kind of like a thin, plasticky, cheap kind of feeling floor that just pulls right out. And under that is your spare tire and tools. It also has the Bose subwoofer in the center of the donut tire. The fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it has a traditional cap, tether, and a little place to hang the cap while you're pumping gas on the inside of the door. If you have the key inside the vehicle, all you have to do is hold the brake and push this button to start it up. The floorboard in front of the driver's seat, floor mat snaps in place just like the passenger side. There's the accelerator and brake pedal. The accelerator pivots here at the bottom, and it has a nice large footrest here on the left side. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there is a latch a little bit to the right of center. So right in here, there's center line. Just reach in, move it to the left, and lift up. It does have a little bit of weight to the hood, so you want to be prepared for that. It does require a prop to hold it up. Here's the prop here. It kind of blends in because it's black with everything else. And it swings up and goes to where that arrow is pointing. The underside of the hood has some insulation. There's also some seals around the edges of the engine compartment, kind of helping with airflow and also noise. So here's the battery here on the right side. It's easy to get to. It also has some insulation around it. So it lets you know that it is a turbo by having some badging here on the front, on the plastic cover, no less. And you can actually see the turbo here in the back. So there's the, see it has some heat shielding around it, and an insulated firewall there. But there's the turbo. And the turbo runs off of the exhaust. So let's take this plastic cover off. Plastic cover has some insulation on the underside of it as well. So now we can see a little bit more. Now it has you see some more plastic, but it is actually part of the engine. This is the valve cover. It's a dual overhead cam system. There's 4 coil packs. Each one of these coil packs goes down, it attaches it right above the spark plugs. So you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the orientation is this way. So this is the front of the engine, the back of the engine is back there, the transmission's down below underneath that battery, down in that area. And you'll see that turbocharged engines are a little bit different because the flow of the air, you have the fresh air coming in, and it goes towards the exhaust area because turbo runs off the exhaust, and it compresses or pushes the air, kind of sucks the air in, and then it pushes it over to the intake, which is here in the front. So they have the heat shielding in the back because there's a lot of heat going on there in the back. You have the turbo, you have the exhaust, all that stuff. And here in the front is the intake. So having the exhaust in the back versus the front, it keeps it away from the cooling system, which is here in the front as well. So you have your radiator and your condenser coils for your air conditioning system. So this is trying to dissipate heat. So if you were to have all this heat build up in the front here next to the cooling system, it might compete with it, add heat to the area in which you're trying to cool off. So I think that's a pretty good design. But you notice this pretty full hood. Under the hood is very full. This is a jam full, and it's a 4-cylinder because of the turbo system, and it's a large 4-cylinder too as well. This vehicle is powered by a 2.5 liter dual overhead cam turbocharged Skyactiv G engine. Now this is paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now it pumps out 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So we saw our door lock controls there, and then here is the power windows. Now these are all one touch up and down, and they're quite fast as well. Side mirrors are adjusted here. You just pick a side and adjust with that little pad. Now the side mirrors are heated. They also have the rear cross traffic alert and blind spot indicator, little triangle there on the edge in them as well. Now the driver's seat has a power seat, unlike the passenger seat. So it has the ability to lift up, go down. You also can tilt the seat as well. And then you can tilt the back, and then there is a lumbar adjustment. So it's 2-way, in and out, lumbar adjustment. These are heated seats. It also has a heated steering wheel. To the left of the steering column, there's a few buttons. There's also a little pocket here. So it has a little pocket you can put some change or whatever in. It's very, very small, but it does have that. You have 2 presets for your power seat here on the driver's side, and you can set it with that button. And these are kind of like safety type stuff and driving assist. So you can turn off your traction control. Default is on, but you can turn it off if you need to spin tires. Now this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, so it'd have to be like you're stuck or something. And parking sensors you can turn off here. In case they're beeping and you know why and you don't want to hear the beeping, you can quickly turn them off. That's the off light, so we can turn it on. Now see the light's off, but now they're on, so it's an off light. This button turns on the camera system. I'll show you that in a minute. So really view all the way around the vehicle, which is great. And then this button quickly turns off some of your safety features. So if you just want to turn them quickly off, you can do that as if you want to. It also has a tilt and a telescoping steering column, and you can lock it in place here. Before I put the shade up, just want to show you the heads-up display, what it looks like. It shows the digital speedometer, and it shows you some other information like what your cruise control is set at, that kind of thing. Now, to adjust the brightness and the position of it, you will need to go into a sub-menu on the main screen, in which you have to use a controller for. So you want to get it set up before you start driving, because it's not, you can't do it when you're driving. I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out, and I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down. I'm 6 feet tall, just to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. Now this is a little bit too far back for me, because I have to put my legs kind of completely straight out in order to access the pedal, so it would be better to pull up a little bit more. But it does have lots of legroom, just like the passenger side. Lots of legroom when you put the seat all the way back. So when I put the seat more forward, then the angle of the footrest is better, and I can just access the pedals a little bit better. But overall, it's pretty good. Some Mazdas that I've experienced in the past, this center area here, the center console area, would actually interfere. It would actually be over top of where the pedal is, so it kind of gets at my legs, kind of competing with the design of the vehicle. In this case, it doesn't have that problem, which is great. Also, this is nice and soft here on the sides. So overall, the actual legroom is great, you know, the leg and knee room. So it has a leather-wrapped steering wheel, and it's very comfortable, good thickness. It has a little cush to it, so it does not like dig it into your bones or anything when you're gripping it. It's really nice, a nice steering wheel. So some of the buttons, though, I can't really see all that good. So I don't know if you can see if I put a glare on some of these buttons. They kind of blend in, and they're not as visible when you're driving. So if you're driving, some of these buttons, you can't really see them here, and some of them over there you can't really see. But if you just kind of memorize where the buttons are, then it's fine. But, you know, initially, trying to figure out which button is which, if I go down here and kind of get at an angle, you can see some of the buttons. But anyways, so here on the right side, it has the cruise control features. And I don't know if you can see, I have to like get at the right glare or whatever, so you can see the cancel and then resume there. If it's not at the right angle, then it's kind of hard to see. And then you can set it by moving up or down. You can change through your speeds by going up and down. You can also, this has the radar adaptive cruise control, and you can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you by going up and down here. So down here is the cruise control on, and then you have the lane departure warning system, in which you can enable here. Now the lane departure warning system is very jarring. It's like an alarm that just all of a sudden, it's like a fire alarm that goes off, and you're like, what the heck is going on? And all it is you got a little bit too close to the line. So it's kind of distracting, actually. There's quite a few things that are just very distracting in this vehicle, but that's one of them. Is that, you know, also the fact that the buttons aren't clearly marked is another issue, because the more seconds you spend trying to hunt buttons down, the less time you're looking at the road. Okay, so here on the left side, your volume for your radios here, and you can change through your tracks here. In the center part is the source, and also the center part here is the mute button. All right, so this is your phone, so you can answer or make calls by pushing that button. And here's the hang up button. And then this info button corresponds with this. There in the gauges, there's a screen. I'll show you that in just a second. Windshield wiper controls are here on the right side. On the left side is your turn signal, but it also has your headlight controls. You have off. When you pull it down to off, that turns off your daytime running lights. At the end here, there's a little button. That is for your automatic high beams, so you can turn that on or off. Sometimes it's good to go ahead and quickly be able to turn it off, just in case they're like flashing somebody, because automatic high beams are kind of not 100%. So you have parking lights and then your headlights. Okay, so here's the gauges. Now it's a nice black background, white clear lettering, so it's highly visible, easy to focus on. So this is all this is all good. There's lots of gauges though, but it is easy to focus on and on the stuff that you need to look at and glance at. RPM, tachometer here on the left side. On the right side is your fuel gauge, engine coolant temperature. Right in here is the distance to empty, outside temperature. Over here is your miles per gallon, current, and then down there's your odometer. Now this is a standard looking speedometer here. So if you have the heads-up display up, and if you want to have this separate speedometer that goes up to 160 miles an hour, by the way, you can have that. Now if we push that info button we saw on the steering wheel, see this info button, we can push that and we can get more information. So you got the driving information, average miles per gallon, digital compass, which way the vehicle's facing. The next one reveals that you can have a digital speedometer, and then this is your driving system here. So you can have the steering active, so as far as your lane keep assist system, you can have that turned on, and it'll let you know if there's a vehicle in front of you for the radar adaptive cruise control. Now this is a full speed radar adaptive cruise control. So it actually, as somebody in front of you comes to a stop, it will actually bring the vehicle to a stop and then resume once they move out of your way or they continue driving. So it's a full speed radar adaptive cruise control. Pushing the info again takes us back to the regular speedometer. So you get different information here as you cycle through. All right. Okay, so there is a screen over here. This is not a touch screen. It's an information screen. And it shows you, a variety of things. How you interact with it is you use this knob here and the buttons around it. So you can see, you can quickly go to your radio, home button, back button, and then navigation. There's a volume knob, which is separate, which is nice to have a nice volume knob. And then you can go to your favorites there. And so when you move the knob left or right, it cycles. So like you have a volume knob, and then you can actually take the knob and move the knob left or right to change through either the radio stations or the next track you're playing, that kind of thing. Now if you push in on it, it turns the audio off or on. So you can turn it on or off by pushing it in. Okay, so we're going to use these buttons to kind of show you what's going on with the screen. Now there's quite a bit of glare. It's actually not that bad. On the camera, it makes it worse. So I'm going to try to avoid that, and I don't want you to think that this is a glary screen, because I hadn't really had a problem with the screen being, a glare on it. And it's bright enough to where you can see it during the day, which is nice. Okay, so pushing the home button takes us to this, and then you can cycle by scrolling the big knob. You can go up and down and choose the particular one you want. So that's your different options there. The first one is information. I'm going to push down on the big knob, and we'll get information about the vehicle. So you have a fuel efficiency monitor, so you can keep an eye on that if you want. Travel length, that's a pretty cool feature. This will give you the ability to find gas stations and check on the weather and all that stuff. Vehicle status monitor, so this will let us know what's going on as far as stored messages, that kind of thing, when you have to change the oil. Owner's manual, when you click this, you can scroll through and get information about the vehicle. It's really handy to be able to access this, but it's not like super easy to go through and try to find information, but you can have the access the information, which is good. All right, so let's go back out of that. Go next to entertainment, AM, FM, satellite radio, Pandora, Bluetooth, USB, 1 and 2. You also have Apple CarPlay capability as well. You just plug into the system and it'll give you an additional option there. Communication. So this will be your cell phone. So when you pair the phone and or connect to the device, you'll be able to access the files that you allow the system to access, like audio files and the ability to send and receive calls. All right, scrolling down, navigation. So now we can look at the map. We can also put in a particular destination and add destination. We can save destinations. Also, you could change the map view instead of top down. So like say top down, if you have it just top down, then the height of the screen is very low, very short. So if you have it top down, so the road will be aiming this way, you can't really see that far ahead of you. So the next turn or whatever, you won't be able to see it until you're right on top of it. So having it, the 3D kind of helps out. So that way you don't have just a completely top-down view. And then last but not least is the settings. Now you notice that the clock is very small. It's basically the same clock that's in the top corner, but they just move it here. I wish it would just expand and fill that empty space up. Because sometimes, you want to have some emphasis on the time and you want to be able to see it clearly, and it just doesn't get any bigger than that. So I think that would be an improvement to have it a specific, when it has that empty space, just fill it up. Go ahead and fill it up with the information. All right, so we can go into the settings, and this is where you can adjust, say, the heads-up display, the position, the brightness, all that stuff. So you notice you have to go into all these sub-menus, several sub-menus to get to that. So you don't want to try to do that while you're driving, which is unfortunate because, when you start driving is when you notice that it's not properly set, either the brightness or whatever. Sitting in your driveway or your garage or whatever, you might not be able to tell, and then once you get on the road, you're like, oh, this is a problem, right? So, it would be nicer to have it like any other vehicle, to where it just has a quick button on the side to where you can just quickly adjust it up and down, or quickly adjust the brightness to match the driving conditions. But anyways, it has all the different settings here, and you want to set all this stuff up, most of it, when you first get the vehicle, and you can just leave it the way it is. All right. So that's it. That's kind of basically the basic rundown of the screen here and how to use it. And yeah, it's pretty decent. I mean, it's not a touch screen, so I mean that could be a plus or minus depending on what you like. And once you get used to it, there's the knob and you can adjust it. Now, this particular vehicle, it's not really for comfort and convenience. I think I missed the point when I first got in this particular vehicle. I was like, it's not very comfortable, it's not very convenient. There is kind of like some quirkiness and stuff like that, but it's not about that. It's about the driving experience, really. So when you drive it, it's fun to drive, and it's like really intended for, get in, you go to work and you have fun driving and you have that acceleration and all that stuff. If you really want comfort and convenience and stuff like that, then this really wasn't designed for that. So anyways, so we saw this area here, but let's move up here. There's a storage pocket, cup holders here on the other side of the shifter. There's a leather wrap shifter here. And let's go ahead and put it in reverse. When we do that, the parking sensors will be enabled. Also, the really nice camera system pops up here. Now, the screen's kind of small and it is far away, so if we're looking here and we have the bright sun in our face, now we have the shade so it's easier to see. You can see, and then this is sectioned off, so you have this full view here. It's very small, you can like cover it up with your thumb. And I have this camera in front of my face, so it's not even all the way back. It's so just to give you an idea of, if the screen was bigger, this would be more functional, but as it is, you get a general idea of what's going on behind the vehicle. And also, when you put it in drive, you get a view in front of the vehicle. and you can see the front, so you can watch out for curbs and stuff because it's such a low in the front. It also has those lines there, active guidelines. See, as I turn the steering wheel, it'll actually turn those lines, so you can see them there, kind of represented on the screen where the vehicle's actually going to go. So it's nice to have the front, the rear cameras, the parking sensors, and then the top-down view. And so you'll notice some people question this: why do people who do car videos park? They don't park in the parking spots. They park in some weird position. The reason why, I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans right now. It's a big conspiracy. The reason why is because they're not parking the vehicle. They are positioning it for the light. So wherever the sun is makes a difference on how the shadows are going to land in and out of the vehicle. So that's why they're, in my particular case, I park it based on where the sun is shining or where the light is shining, to avoid any, so I can film the vehicle better. That's what it is. So it's not just being arrogant and taking up lots of places. There's not a single car in this parking lot. I'm not taking up anybody's space. I'm just, parking here out of the way so I can position it to the sun. So that's why I'm parked that way. All right, so there's that. And so this right here is a sport mode, which we can turn on or off. And it has a little indicator here, whether it's turned on. So it'd say sport mode, and then off. And so we saw these buttons here, but here to the left is auto hold and the electronic parking brake. Now the electronic parking brake, you can have it set to where it will actually engage when you put it in park, and it engages the rear wheels. And then to release it, you hold the brake and push it down, and the little light will turn off, so you can see whether it's on or not. The auto hold feature, I'm going to turn it back on. The auto hold feature, when this is turned on, it will hold. When you come to a complete stop, it'll hold the vehicle, hold the brake for you basically, and until you push the accelerator again. So if you're sitting at a stop sign, a stoplight for an extended period of time, or traffic or whatever, you could just, when this feature's on, you'd basically hold the brake for you, even when you're in drive, so you're not creeping forward. Okay, so here's the armrest, and it's very soft, nice and cushy armrest, very comfortable. It's big enough to share with your passenger without, well, if you choose to share it, I guess. There's no like property line or anything, but it's pretty good size. Now it does open up, and it's kind of interesting because if there's a little latch here, when you lift that up, when you try to pull this up, it doesn't lift up. You have to slide it back until right there, and then it'll lift up. Okay, so can also go all the way back and then lift up. So it's actually not too bad once you get used to it when you're sitting in the driver's seat. But if you're like reaching in, like, oh, I forgot something, I need to get it, and you're like open the door and reach in, then it's kind of a little bit of a, I just don't understand why they just don't let you just lift it up. They have to go back to this particular spot, here or here. See, there's only two spots here that you can lift it up. So I'm not sure exactly. Maybe there's a good reason why, it is secured up here, but the latch, but for whatever reason, you have to pull it back. All right, so now it's open. Here's a little storage space, and there's a USB port here, 12-volt power supply. Now it has a little battery on it, so you can see a little battery right here, and this indicates that it's connected to the battery. And even when the ignition system's turned off, you can use this for charging devices or whatever. It has this little divider in which you can take out, and a felt-lined bottom piece, so you can take it out, clean it, put it back in. It's not super deep, this little storage area, but it does have, some space there. There's also places for wires to go in and out of this compartment as well, here and here. And there's no lights. Another spoiler for the night video. A lot of dark areas in the inside. Rear view mirror. It's an auto dim rear view mirror. It's actually auto dimming right now because I have the shade over the light sensor. And light sensor is right back here on the back of the rear view mirror. And when the rear view mirror is auto dimming, it's also auto dimming the side mirror here. So usually don't see that during the day. The passenger side mirror does not auto dim, it's just the driver's side. Now you could turn the auto dim feature off by pushing this button. Right here is your HomeLink garage door opener controls. Interior lights, so we can push that, turn on a quick reading light, turn on all the interior lights here. When you open the door, it will turn on the interior lights, but if you want to turn that feature off, you can push that. It has a little off light, and this light shines that way for a reading light for the passenger side. There's a place to put your shades here, and it has a felt lining, kind of thin felt lining there. This is for the sunroof. We'll get to that in just a minute. It's quite dark right here. Hopefully you can see those buttons. Alright, now this is the visor, and it has like a vinyl wrapping around the outside, a little clip right here, a light, LED light that turns on when you open up the mirror. Pretty good size mirror too. And the shade does not, this visor does not slide, right? It has an extension, which I think is actually better because it adds to your coverage instead of just shifting it. So when you put it here, you're going to add to your coverage. You still have the coverage in the front. There's a handle. Handle all above all four doors, by the way. Okay, let's look at the sunroof real fast. And so the sunroof has a shade that covers 100% of the light, which is nice. So there's not, if you want to cover it up, you have that shade. Now we can let some sun in. We can tilt it up, tilt it down, or we can move it back. That's as far back as it goes. All right, let's look at the visibility in the back. So it does have these large pillars back there. So it's something you have to get used to. So there's a large pillar there, and a large pillar there. Relatively small window in the back for a hatchback. So something to get used to. Now all vehicles have blind spots. Now this one has a great camera system. It has great parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert. It has a blind spot detection system. It has a lot of technology to help you out with the driving. When you see the size of these pillars here on the side. But anyways, it's not a huge deal. It's just something to get used to. That's just the way vehicles are. When I was driving a Challenger, it had really bad blind spots as well, and none of the safety features, not even a backup camera. So it was a little bit of a pain, but I got used to it and it was not really a big deal. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll leave links in the description with more information, and I'll see you guys next time.